All right, get ready because we are diving deep today into destination wedding dresses. We're going to make sure you are totally prepared for the big day, especially when it comes to picking and transporting your gown. And it doesn't matter where you're headed. We've got an amazing guide to help us out today. It's from Darianna Bridal, a bridal shop in Pennsylvania. Did you know that some fabrics are practically made for beach weddings? And get this, they've even got tips for how to fly with your gown.
It's true. When it comes to destination weddings, picking the right dress is about so much more than just the style. It's got to be able to travel well, too.
So let's jump right in. First up, picking the dress. When you're picturing yourself saying, I do, with the sand between your toes, this guide recommends some really gorgeous fabrics for beach weddings. They recommend organza, chiffon, English net, and charmeuse. Now, I know you're thinking they all sound gorgeous, but are they actually practical?
Oh, they are totally practical. What makes these fabrics so perfect for a beach setting is that they're lightweight and airy. They're breathable. They move beautifully. Just imagine the ocean breeze catching your dress as you're walking down the aisle. Pure magic. Plus, these fabrics usually catch the light beautifully, giving you that, like, ethereal, sun-kissed look.
See, I hadn't even considered the way that the fabric would move in the breeze. That's a really great point. And speaking of that glow, the guide also mentions shimmering beads and sequins because, let's be honest, a little sparkle never hurts.
Never hurts. It's all about making a look that,
Complements the surroundings, you know? So for a tropical setting, you could even consider bold floral appliques.
ooh, like hibiscus flowers or palm leaves woven into the design. Now, that's what I call a statement.
Totally. And here's a thought. What if you took inspiration from the local flora and fauna of your destination? That way your dress would have an even deeper connection to the place you're saying, I do. That is such a unique idea. I love it. Now, what about those fairy tale outdoor weddings in the mountains or gardens? You know, the ones with that dreamy boho vibe.
Right. For that natural, earthy vibe, the guide recommends intricate and geometric lace patterns. And here's where it gets interesting. They suggest champagne or mocha underlays.
Okay, intricate and geometric. Are we talking like sharp lines here or more delicate, flowing lines?
Think of it as lace with a little more structure. Geometric lace can use both. They often have repeating patterns, like squares, triangles,
Yeah.
or even floral motifs arranged in a structured way. The beauty of geometric lace is that it adds a modern elegance to that traditional romance of lace. And the underlays, well, you create this stunning contrast, making the lace details really pop.
So it's like you're adding depth and dimension, making the dress even more captivating. I definitely see how that would be perfect for a setting surrounded by nature's beauty. The guide also mentions off-the-shoulder bell and flutter sleeves for this style.
Yeah, it's all about embracing that feeling of flow and movement, mirroring the natural beauty that's around you. Think of it as creating a harmonious blend between your dress and the overall aesthetic of your wedding.
Okay, so you found the perfect dress. Now for the big question. How are you going to get this precious cargo to your destination in one piece?
Right. Well, this is where the packing tips come in. If you're traveling by car, they suggest stuffing the bodice with tissue paper or even a bust form to help keep its shape.
That makes sense. So it's like giving the dress its own little support system for the journey. And of course, you'll want to use the bridal store's dress bag.
Of course. But here's a little tip for extra protection. Slide a clear plastic bag over the dress before you put it into the dress bag. Think of it as insurance against any surprise spills or moisture.
I like how you think. You can never be too careful, especially with something as important as your wedding dress. And then it's all about hanging it up in the car or laying it flat and making sure nothing is piled on top of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want any of those dreaded wrinkles and creases.
Right.
So it's all about preventing them from even happening.
Now, what about flying with your gown? That honestly sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It can be tricky, but it doesn't have to be a nightmare. The guide actually has a surprisingly simple solution. Call the airline before your flight and see if they have any closets specifically for hanging garments.
Wait, really? That would be amazing. That would take so much stress out of traveling with a wedding dress.
Right. And if that's not an option, you can always just politely ask a flight attendant for help. They might be able to store it in an overhead bin for you. Just make sure it's folded once, just to prevent any excessive wrinkling.
So it's okay to fold it a little bit. That's good to know. But what about those travel wrinkles that always seem to happen? I mean, no matter how careful you are, they always happen.
You're right. That's where a steamer becomes your best friend. Make sure you have one ready to go at your destination. That way you can get all those wrinkles out and make sure your dress looks absolutely perfect.
Got it. So a steamer is a must-have. And just like with car travel, stuffing the bodice for extra protection during the flight is a good idea.
Absolutely. You really can't be too cautious when it comes to safeguarding your dress,
Mhm.
especially during air travel. It's all about those extra precautions, just in case.
Speaking of taking precautions, let's talk about another option, shipping your dress ahead of time. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that can be a great option, especially if your venue has a coordinator who can receive it and store it for you. It definitely takes the pressure off of you having to personally transport it.
Okay, so how do you properly ship a wedding dress? That sounds like a very delicate operation.
It's really not as complicated as you might think. The guide breaks it down into a few simple steps. First, you'll want to use a bust form to keep the shape of the bodice. Then stuff tissue paper between any folds and around any beading. This will help prevent creasing and will protect those delicate details.
So it's like creating a little cocoon for your dress to travel in.
Exactly. Then you'll want to put the dress in a plastic bag, for extra protection against moisture, and then into the dress bag. Finally, pack it all up in a perfectly sized box.
Wow. That's quite a process. It seems like a lot of steps. But it makes sense when you think about how important it is to protect the dress. What about choosing a shipping company? Are there any specific recommendations?
The most important thing is to pick a reputable shipping company with good tracking information. You want to be able to keep an eye on your dress every step of the way, just for peace of mind. And of course, have a steamer and a sewing kit ready at your destination, just in case you need to do any last-minute touch-ups.
Okay, so we've covered the dress. What about the veil? How do you make sure that delicate piece arrives safely?
Well, the guide recommends wrapping the veil in plastic and keeping it with the dress. Whether you're driving, flying, or shipping, that's the best way to protect it, and prevent any snags or tears. And then when you arrive, you guessed it, a quick steam will have your veil looking flawless.
It seems like steaming is the magic word when it comes to wedding attire.
It really is the key to erasing any of those travel wrinkles. And it makes sure both your dress and veil look their absolute best on your big day.
All right, so the dress and veil have arrived safe and sound. What are the first things you should do when you unpack everything?
First, give the dress a good once-over. Check for any loose beads or threads that might need a little attention. And here's a very important tip. You always want to hang the dress by the hanging straps that the manufacturer sewed in.
Oh, why are those specific straps so important? I mean, a hanger is a hanger.
Not exactly. If you hang the dress by any other straps or sleeves, it can actually put a lot of stress on the fabric, and that can cause damage or misshaping, and we definitely don't want that.
So it's like those manufacturer straps are like the dress's designated hanging points. They're designed so they can support its weight without causing any harm.
Precisely. It's all about preserving the garment, keeping it in perfect condition for your big day.
This is all such valuable advice. I feel like I've learned so much already.
Me too. And we've only just scratched the surface of destination wedding wisdom. But before we dive into more tips and tricks, we need to take a quick break.
Okay, we're back and ready to keep exploring the world of destination wedding dresses. We've covered a lot of ground already, from picking the perfect fabric to navigating those sometimes tricky travel logistics.
We have. And, with all this practical advice, it's easy to get kind of caught up in all the details. But Darianna Bridal's guide reminds us that the dress is really just one part of a magical day.
That's so true. It is really easy to get a little tunnel vision when you're planning a wedding, but at the end of the day, it really is about celebrating love.
Exactly. And the guide really emphasizes how important it is to relax and enjoy the journey. Destination weddings, they often have unique challenges, but it's all about embracing the unexpected and focusing on the joy of the celebration.
I can definitely see how that kind of mindset would be super helpful. So, beyond the dress itself, what other insights does the guide offer?
Well, it reminds us that not everything is going to go exactly according to plan, but that's totally okay. Sometimes those little imperfections, they can actually make the day even more memorable and unique.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about letting go of the need for things to be absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
And embracing the spontaneity of the moment.
exactly. Your wedding day is about making memories, not about being picture perfect.
It's a celebration, not a photo shoot. And speaking of celebrations, I bet you've seen some incredible destination weddings in your work. What are some of the most unique or memorable details that you've come across?
Oh my gosh, so many. I've seen couples incorporate local traditions into their ceremonies. I've seen custom cocktails that are inspired by the destination's, flavors, and even wedding favors designed as little souvenirs that really capture the essence of the place.
Those are such creative ideas. I love how they kind of weave in the spirit of the destination into each aspect of the wedding.
Right, it's all about telling a story, not just having a wedding. And that brings us back to you. What unique details do you see in your destination wedding?
Ooh, yes. Tell us your ideas. What are you excited about? What are you dreaming of?
Share your vision with us. We're all ears, and we can't wait to hear about all the incredible celebrations you're planning.
And while you're gathering your thoughts, we're going to take a quick pause. We'll be right back to wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts to inspire your destination wedding dreams. It's so inspiring to hear about all the creative ways that couples are making their destination weddings really unique and special. It reminds us that your wedding day is kind of like a blank canvas, and you can make a celebration that reflects your own love story.
Absolutely. And thinking about all those personalized touches, it makes me think of a question that came up in our deep dive source today.
Yeah.
So now that you've got the dress situation figured out, what other special details do you want at your destination wedding?
Wow, what a great question. It's like we've solved the dress dilemma, and now it's time to get creative with all the other parts of your big day.
Yeah. Think about it. The location, the culture, your own style, all of those things can inspire you to come up with unforgettable details.
Oh, I'm already picturing it. Maybe a welcome reception with local food, or a ceremony backdrop that really shows off the beauty of wherever you're getting married.
Yeah. And don't forget about the music. What if you had a live band playing traditional music from that place? Or even a playlist that totally captures the vibe of your destination?
Those are such good ideas. It's all about making an experience that, transports your guests to a whole different world while also celebrating your love story in a way that they'll never forget.
Right. So as you keep planning your destination wedding, remember to think outside the box. Embrace those unexpected things that come up. And most importantly, have fun with it.
That is definitely the best advice
Oh.
because your wedding is about love and joy and the beginning of your happily ever after.
And what could be more magical than that?
So to all of our destination wedding dreamers out there, we're sending you all the best wishes. As you start this amazing adventure, we hope your dress arrives safely, your plans come together beautifully, and that your wedding day is filled with love, laughter, and amazing moments you'll never forget.
And don't forget to share all your wedding adventures with us on social media. We cannot wait to see all the magic you create.
Until next time, happy planning, and may your love story just keep getting more and more beautiful.